Hello, thanks for opening my video. Today I'd like to do a presentation about software testing, especially focus on the effects of test-driven development (TDD) in software development fields. I chose an article from IEEE Exposure, and this is also a peer-reviewed one. The name of the article is The Effects of TDD on Internal and External Quality and Productivity, a Systematic Review. Before starting, I am intended to explain the concepts about TDD and TLD briefly. As the picture says, you need to understand the requirements first and then write one test. The third step is to write code to pass the test. Finally, run all tests that refactor the code if necessary. But as for TLD, you need to write all code first and then write the tests. Other steps are quite similar. The author tried to figure out the effects of TDD on internal and external quality and productivity compared to the TLD. This is a problem that the author will solve in the article. The author tried some methods to solve the questions. First, he defined the purpose of the review and provided some research questions which can guide the entire review. Based on these questions, the author decided to do a systematic literature review. He considered the articles published between 1999 to 2040. The range was chosen because it was assumed that the term TDD started to be used more often since 1999. The next work is paper selection. The papers were chosen from online libraries such as IEEE Exposure, ACM Digital Library, and so on. There are some criterions for inclusion and exclusion of papers. For example, paper must be fully available and have been previously published in any scientific format. The results must be based on a clear measurement criterion and so on. Papers may be removed because of duplication or papers that are not related to the TDD practice in software development, or papers that were not written in English and so on. Besides, 7 validation questions were also provided. All the questions must be satisfied, which can increase the quality and reliability of the review. Finally, in order to extract information from the studies to be analyzed in this systematic review, a list of attributes was created as a model to consolidate and organize information for all the papers. Based on these attributes, the extracted data were grouped and described in detail, thus facilitating the analysis and comparison in result part. The results of the methods are quite obvious in the article. In internal quality, the main indicator used to identify the effects was the code coverage in the resulting production code. So we can see in the table of the article, TDD has more positive effects than negative effects in internal quality aspect according to the method. As for external quality, the main indicator used for identifying the effects was black box testing, in order to measure the amount of test cases that passed or failed in accordance with the practice in use. We can see in another table, TDD also has more positive effects than negative effects in external quality. As for productivity, the indicator is compare the time taken to implement a new functionality and the amount of generated code. This time, the result is that TDD decreases the productivity. There are several parts that can influence the validity. For theoretical validity, we can increase the number of samples that make up the literature review to decrease the public bias. As for objectivity, this process was performed twice by the same researchers. But there have been no inter-researcher validation. The fact that the process of selecting and extracting information from the paper was performed by a single investigator is considered to be a low threat. However, the process was implemented and revised twice in order to lower the risk of misinterpreting of results. But this threat cannot be completely removed. In repeatability, to reduce this threat, the entire process, protocol, and research methods were described in detail, allowing this work to be replicated and extended in the future by other researchers. The process of systematic review in the present paper followed the guidelines. The research solved the problem successfully. That's by doing literature review, the author made the conclusion that TDD has more positive effects on internal and external quality, but decreases the productivity. The next step is to invite other researchers to duplicate the work. And also besides, increasing the number of samples is also necessary to the validity, because there are still some threats to the validity as I stated in the above part. In my opinion, I support the claim made by the author. First, his logical structure is clear and quite easy to follow, and his research process is based on some scientific arguments. Also, he used some methods to increase the quality and reliability of the whole research. Finally, the author realized that the threat to the validity and provided some possible solutions. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you very much, and bye.